Hello there everyone, I am at long last, doing or redoing the viewer submitted Fighters Pass 2 roster video. If you don't know, a month ago or more at this point, I asked you guys to submit images of your fan-made Fighters Pass 2 to me. It could have been a prediction roster, a wish roster, a stupid meme roster, whatever you wanted. I would take them all in and I'd make a video talking about them all. And you sent in more than I was anticipating I would get initially, so not only did that cause the original video that I recorded to be way longer than I originally wanted it to be, but now that I'm sitting here unscripted, just going over these rosters live in front of you, it's gonna be even longer, so let's not waste any time, shall we? This is all recorded live, just sitting at my desk. I'm not even in the recording closet this time. It has been about a month since I looked at these rosters, so I might not remember everything about all of them, nor will I remember who made them really, which is fine. You're all staying anonymous anyway, since I never asked if you wanted to be known or not. And I barely remember the original script I wrote, so we'll just have to see how this goes. But there was no way I was not going to celebrate these wonderful works of art that you sent in to me. Thank you to everyone that took time to make one of these and send it to me. And we're gonna kick things off with a roster that I've been staring at since I hit the record button, but you haven't gotten to see yet. There it is! I did intentionally choose to start on this roster because I think it's just a nice, good looking roster to start on. Also, as I alluded to, this video was supposed to come out before Steve was revealed and released. So that's why you will not see everyone have Steve on their roster, and we'll just have to give some bonus points to whoever did include Steve on their roster before he was revealed. But hey, even though this roster doesn't have Steve, it's got an indie character, a less popular though I think equally valid indie character. You got a character that plays into fan theories, you got a fan favorite first party, you've got a more niche yet still beloved and requested character here, and then a huge juggernaut fan favorite icon to cap it off. I think this is a wonderfully balanced roster, which is something that a lot of people kind of struggle with meeting when they try to make prediction rosters. I don't know if this was a prediction or a want, but if it's predictions, balance is incredible. It's just appealing to look at. We got gradients in the background, the game logo up here, the name. It looks like you used a template of some kind, which is smart. That's probably how you should do it. All of these characters, save for maybe Geno, are characters that I don't hear about quite as much as some other characters. Yet I still think they are absolutely worth still talking about today, and they are all characters that I am personally in favor of. Beautiful start. Well done, sir. And then I also got rosters that look like this. As you can see, the maker of this roster, we can see a very wide, diverse range of video game interests of theirs. Clearly very diverse tastes on display here, but what this roster fails to take into consideration, as I assume this was meant to be a joke or a meme roster, that Sojiro Sakura would actually be like 10 times as hype as like most characters we're going to be talking about today. If you could burn people to death with coffee, like throwing plates of curry, like me Sword Fighter's chakra thing. You know, if Sojiro Sakura actually gets in Fighters Pass 2, he's probably going to sell more packs than Joker did. That's about all I have to say about this one. Oh yeah, now this roster is significant just because this is the only person that bothered to include Pyro alongside Rex. I don't think you necessarily have to, but I appreciate it. Another one throwing love for Bandana D. I will say I saw a lot more Bandana D than I thought I would, which makes me really dang happy. I saw more Bandana D than some other first-party characters that you might expect we would see on this roster. For the most part, characters like Rex or like Dante or Crash, like characters that people just talk about and you see over and over and over again. I'm not really going to focus on those characters. If you see them on a roster here, it's just like, oh yeah, Rex makes sense, Dante makes sense, Crash makes sense, whether it's a want or a prediction, of course. I'm going to like those. But if you are among the esteemed few that have the class, the knowledge, the wisdom, the taste, the sense of style that it requires to be someone that would put Monokuma on your Smash roster, then we're already friends. I already like you. Just when you see me on the street, just walk up to me and say, hey, I put Monokuma on my Smash wishlist roster. We'll walk to the nearest deli, I'll buy you a sandwich on me. Hey, we got our first winner here, including Steve, and hey, it's even well, it's not exactly the Steve they use in Smash, but pretty close, you know, and these are all pretty, you know, standard, fair, favorable Smash picks. And then you get to Dry Bones, man. I am so glad there's someone out there that specifically loves dry bones like I do. I adore dry bones, man. Probably because I grew up in like the DS Wii era, and for whatever reason, Dry Bones got a lot of like special roles, or like he was particularly heavily used in playable roles in that area, so a way nostalgic character for me. Heck yeah, on the Dry Bones, dude. So you got some people that were really particular about the first party character that they would like to see in Smash, and then you got some people that just, yeah. First party promotional fighter. You know, I actually think a lot of people making these rosters had the same idea as this person, where they're just like, I'm just gonna use a spot to throw in some whatever throwaway Nintendo advertisement character. And I think a lot of people just throw Rex in that spot. As much as I don't want that to be the case, as much as I want to believe that you all adore Xenoblade on the same level I do, I think the only way Rex is showing up on as many rosters as he does in this video is if people have this mindset. And yeah, besides that, the clear standout of this roster to me, the most unique pick here is definitely Demi-Fiend. Heck yeah on the Demi-Fiend, man. Now, for those of you out there that aren't quite as cultured or learned on JRPGs as someone of my caliber is, Demi-Fiend is from a video game series called Shin Megami Tensei, which is actually a spin-off of the Persona series that Joker is from, so that's where Demi-Fiend comes from. If we get an SMT character, it'd probably be the Pro Tag from 5, because a new Nintendo Switch exclusive game and all that, but from my very limited knowledge, Demi-Fiend does seem to be the most popular pick out of all SMT Pro Tags on the fan side of things. It might be a bit weird to get technically 2 SMT characters in the DLC, but I think in this case it's actually not impossible with a new game coming out, and who even calls Persona 5 an SMT game? Not even Atlas does anymore. Oh lord, oh lord, oh lord. Oh wow, in the original video, this was the final roster I showed, and it gave that video something of a sudden climactic ending. Well, let's ignore the, let's call it art style of this roster. We got Laura, someone I guess just desperately didn't want to be yet another person to throw Rex on their roster for the first party promotional fighter. Although you do include Rillaboom, so those are like the 2 standard, Rex and Rillaboom are the 2 characters people go to for like Nintendo advertisement characters, so you got it covered there. You got a classic Freddy for the indie rep. Now we know that the indie rep asterisk went to someone else. I see a lot of people talking about the GTA crew, not a lot, but when I say a lot, I just mean more than I would ever expect. I don't personally see the appeal, but it's what, like the 3rd best-selling game of all time or something like that, so obviously a popular choice. I won't go against that, except to say that I don't think it's likely in the least. And then our first appearance of Master Chief, who we don't see a whole lot in this video, I'm pretty sure, but I've always said one of my personal most wanted. You got 2 ends of the spectrum here on this. You got just like pedestrian advertisement Nintendo characters, and then larger than life third-party icons. You just had to include that Geno Me costume, addressing one of the most peculiar anomalies that we have to face right now. Seeing Rillaboom make it on a Smash roster, while also seeing Geno just sitting there as a Mii costume. I don't know why, because it does make sense, but that's especially rubbing salt on the wound, dude. Having 2 third parties that have never touched Nintendo is certainly ballsy in terms of predictions, but you do have a stretched out Kiddy Kong in the corner, which I think balances it out and boosts the odds of this becoming real by at least 4.8 Sakurai points. Of course, counting that in binary for this piece of art. Moving on. Oh, now that's a dang good looking roster right there. So this is actually the one roster that was submitted to me after I had basically finished the first run of this video. So just by chance of fate, then my apartment complex got struck by lightning and shorted out my laptop. We get to include this roster, which I think this is maybe the only time or one of the only times we see Ragna on a Smash roster, so some Blaze Blue in there. You know, it used to be back in the day that a Soul Bad Guy was the only ArcSys character you would see in Smash discussion, and I still think he has a pretty solid leg up over Ragna, but these days I think it's getting pretty dang balanced out, and I think Ragna is coming up to match Soul for the ArcSys character we would see in Smash. Again, I don't know if this is predictions or wants, but either way, I like seeing ArcSys characters on Smash rosters. I think there's a lot of validity to that. Then we got our first not Pokemon, though not our last, I will say. Don't know anything about these guys, so no comment either then. Isn't this series like dead in America? Like they're just not gonna put these out in America anymore, like anything from this company? I'll have to fact check myself on that. Then a Disgaea character. I don't think that's going to happen personally, but I think that's more likely than the general consensus would maybe lead you to believe. I think Disgaea, I remember Disgaea 5 being a relatively big deal around the Switch's launch. Like that was a game early on, it was like, oh, that's coming to Switch? Okay, the Switch's library is kind of stacking up to something, that's neat. I can't tell you the first thing about Prinny here, but Disgaea 6 is on the way. It's a much more successful JRPG series than I think people realize, so I'm glad someone's calling it out here. And then, literally as I sit here editing, another late entry approaches. This roster was sent to me about 3 minutes ago in my Discord server, so we're talking about it. Now, this was sent to me after Steve's reveal, so while I could say they just slapped Steve on here to seem smart, Travis is right next to him, so I think that absolves this roster of suspicion, which also means that there's really only 3 characters to talk about here. And it's the first appearance for all of them in this video. Spyro is a character that I have expressed before. I personally really want this guy. Though obviously it would make sense that Crash would get in first, regardless of my take on the quality of their respective games. That's just how them sales figures go. Our first appearance of Waluigi, which I feel I don't need to say anything about, except for the fact that later in this video, there's another Waluigi, and at the time I was initially recording this, he was the only Waluigi in the whole video, so I'd say some things that are now outdated with the inclusion of this second Waluigi, and Mach Rider. Retro NES first parties are much less fashionable to talk about today than they were a few years ago, but I'm still here for them. I don't think Mach Rider is top of the list for likeliness, but in terms of an appealing character design and potential moveset, I think is one of the best choices you could go with for an NES character. That's a lot of this roster actually. Not particularly likely, but much more appealing options than what would probably actually be included in their stead. Okay, back to the original video. Oh man, this one, I think this guy, I think he accidentally sent me in a prediction roster for PlayStation All-Stars 2. And, you know, he's bringing in all the PlayStation favorites that they really forgot the first time around. Like, he's adding Crash into PlayStation All-Stars finally. Female Cloud, since Smash already has male Cloud. Cloud for 10-year-olds to appeal to a younger demographic, a Galen Merrick, and good Dante this time. Good on you for putting in good Dante. I can't say I find this to be that likely because it's a lot of largely Nintendo irrelevant characters, but as someone that likes seeing third-party characters that stray away from Nintendo ties, I'd be fine living in this insane alternate Smash X PSAS2 universe you've constructed. I can chill with you there, dude. Yo, okay, award. Award for the cutest Fighters Pass submitted to me easily goes to this one. How do you not want to hug every single character on that roster right there? I mean, before you realize the fact that, you know, this guy wants to trap you in a painting purgatory, this girl's trying to control space-time and has a bone in her ponytail, this guy wants to plunge the world into nihilistic anarchy, but you know how you actually plunge the world into violent nihilist anarchy? You make this the roster for Fighters Pass 2. Oh man, okay. Let's see here, not one, but 2 Fire Emblem characters right here. Let's make that real clear up front. We got Edgy Joker, and then the first time I recorded this video, I just thought this was, you know, just some random anime kid wielding what looked like pink floss as a weapon. But actually earlier today, I was informed that this is the main character from Shin Megami Tensei. Specifically, he is the protagonist of Devil Survivor. I don't think revealing that information is going to convince anyone to like this roster that doesn't already. This is an even less well-known character than the other Persona spin-off character we talked about. You know, this is clearly a wishlist roster, not at all a prediction, and based on that, you know, I like Persona 3, I like Felix. I don't hate this lineup, as weeby as it is. I gotta give it up. This person, they like what they like, they want what they want, they make it known, and they don't care if this potentially becoming true would light the entire world on fire. I respect them for that. And also, Girahim. Girahim used to be a really popular choice for Smash back when Skyward Sword was the latest mainline Zelda game, and I kinda miss seeing him. I like Girahim, I like Skyward Sword, so respect on you there. Oh yeah, this one. So this is the only appearance of Ninten in the whole video, so hats off to you there. This really taught me how similar Tails and Conquer look, so there's that. I thought this was a character from The Escapist. Someone informed me that it's Terraria. That's about everything I know there. And then, okay, why is Goku a monkey? You're going to put Goku on your Smash roster. He's a monkey. Some Famicom game from the 80s or 90s, whatever. Do you know the chaos that will ensue if Goku gets into Smash and they make him a monkey? Were these two rosters made by the same person? I sense a similar wanting mass chaos energy from both of these rosters. Heck yeah on Tails, not enough people talk about Tails in Smash. Ooh, okay. This person gets pretty dang close to the correct answer here. Rex, Dixie Kong, Master Chief, yeah, I'm with you there. Another soul brave enough to throw out a Gen 8 Pokemon, as I assume just a general advertisement character. And then the only appearance of Lara Croft in today's video. I feel absolutely nothing for Lara Croft. I don't think she's getting in Smash. If she does get Smash, I probably won't even bother to upload my reaction to it. Although now I will, now that I've said that statement. I mean, these past 2 generations, her games have just been absolutely annihilated by Uncharted. Both quality-wise and sales-wise. It's not exactly the most fashionable time to be bringing in Lara Croft, but female representation, one of the most important female characters, that's probably the best you can say for her. Moving on. Oh yes, this is our first instance of someone that sent me both a prediction roster and a wishlist roster, which I loved getting these because you could clearly see, once again, another great example of the duality of the Smash fandom here. He thinks we're getting Crash, Rillaboom, Paper Mario, Dante, Rex. Fine choices across the board. I can certainly see the rationale for each and every one of those characters, but then you move on to his wants. And we still see Paper Mario and Crash, but we get Nathan Drake, Hat Kid, Rayman. You see the difference? There are some people that think that Smash is just gonna give in to throwing in a bunch of generic Japanese characters no one cares about, when they would much rather get their generic Western characters that no one cares about. Disregard my comments like one roster ago where I said that Nathan Drake annihilates Lara Croft in popularity and recognizability and quality these days. And we will see later the exact opposite. People that think it's going to be a bunch of normie Western characters when they want their stupid tropey Japanese crap instead. Will these two minds in Smash ever learn to get along? I doubt it. I will say, I don't think they did this intentionally, but that's the 1000-Year Door version of Paper Mario, which shoots up how much I want this character in Smash like 20 times if it's specifically 1000-Year Door Paper Mario, or even 64 Paper Mario, or Super Paper Mario Paper Mario. Other than that, our only appearance of Nathan Drake in this video. Oh, this one. Well, you know, in the original video when it was scripted and I was putting a good amount of time into editing it and making it look super slick, I had a whole running joke about my editor coming in and, like, you know, enhancing the image, and I talked about how Parliament of Denmark, of course much speculated to be in Smash, of course the Denmark flag, famously inspired by the Smash logo. This Parliament building here looks like where I took my SAT. And I had this whole bit about, like, Acro the Acrobat, and now I'm not gonna edit all that now. I'm not gonna rewrite that joke. So, since I already put in the work and I made that joke, but I just never got to release it, could you just sit in your chair there or lay down or wherever you are and just laugh for a solid, like, 6 or 7 seconds as if I had just laid out a really awesome joke about this roster? Like, laugh so hard that, like, your parents or your spouse or your roommate or whoever you're living with is genuinely concerned and thinks that there's something wrong with you right now. Well, unless me saying that is something you can sue me for. If you can sue me for encouraging you to do that, then don't do it. I'm really sad that I don't get to talk about this roster. This roster, on the other hand, yes! A lot of good stuff to talk about here. Now, if we ignore the fact that having, like, Ray, Excitebike, or the Professor betrays the fact that the author of this roster is likely a bit older than my normal demographic. Guess what? I'm also a bit older than my normal demographic, so I'm cool with it. Not enough people talk about Ray. He's one of the coolest assist trophies in Smash history. Excitebiker, I think the obvious next choice for Nintendo NES icon. The Professor, getting the good version of Brain Age in Smash, I'm there every day for that. A hugely successful DS and Wii series. You got the Donkey Kong character wrong, and you can get the Zelda character wrong. I just don't have particularly strong feelings about Impa. Although these days this probably isn't the version of Impa you would want to be putting on your roster based on the general consensus of that Age of Calamity Impa. But yeah, this is a fantastic roster. Oh man, okay. Oh, this was one of the people that were kind enough to like write out an explanation for their roster, which a handful of people did, where they would like, you know, write a paragraph for each character and why they're there. And I appreciated when people did that, especially for a roster like this. Without that explanation, I would have no idea what an Emma or a Vennoct is. So Emma here is from that not Splatoon game that, you know, that one with the sticks and the bubblegum that you saw in like 3 or 4 Nintendo Directs and immediately forgot about after that. That's what she's from. And then Vennoct is one of those not Pokemon, same as that other guy. And you know what? I like how this guy looks a lot more than many of the Pokemon I see on these rosters. So yeah, I'm cool with it. You can come to Smash instead of a Pokemon Vennoct, I approve. Sorry, thing that I think evolves from Zigzagoon, right? Probably the weirdest roster I got that wasn't just a joke, of course. And I love it for that. If any of these 3 oddballs actually make it in, I will remember this roster for sure. Ooh, here we got a person that's in the same boat as me of just wanting literally any character from Xenoblade. We're not even picky anymore. Just anyone from a game that has Xenoblade Chronicles in the title. And I guess at this point we're even accepting the worst party member from Xenoblade 1. And I think that really just, you know, shows the desperation of the situation. Another roster with Steve, props to you there, congratulations. Hats off to you, you win the day as well. But then Frisk, a true indie character. A lot of people still talking about Frisk potentially coming to Smash, which I find very interesting. That's a topic with a lot of layers to it, right? Enough that if I start talking about it here, it's only gonna drag the video, so I'm not gonna do that. Cat from Gravity Rush, excellent pick. Chrono, excellent pick. Whether or not they're likely or not, that is just quality taste in gaming right there. Even though I have not finished Chrono Trigger or Gravity Rush, so you could call me a hypocrite or a bandwagoner if you want. Yo, someone else that got kinda close to the right answer with Monokuma and 2B here. And hey, Noctis and Astral Chain Hero. 2 lesser picked characters that I am all for, honestly. I haven't even played Final Fantasy 15. I really want to, though. I think Final Fantasy 15 is a big enough deal to warrant being in Smash, and heck yeah, Noctis could bring something cool and new. I have no idea who Purple Chicken Man here is. This is the one character in this entire video at this point that I straight up, I don't know who he is. I don't know what it's from. I can't tell by the art style. And I am kinda shocked that someone actually managed to stump me here. Someone actually sent in a character that I just don't know who they are. I'm surprised that happened. That's honestly impressive on its own. The fact that you stumped me and included Monokuma on your roster. I'll buy you a sandwich and a donut if you ever run into me on the street. Also, why is this roster like hovering towards the top of the screen? That's interesting. Okay, so here's another duo of a prediction roster and a wishlist roster. This being the prediction roster. A lot of characters we've seen before, although I think this is the first appearance of Shantae, so that's notable. And then you move on to the want roster, and you still see Shantae, you still see Dante, but another one for Neku, and then Ratchet and Gunvolt. Again, just like some of these rosters just have like way more bespoke and niche picks that I'm like, oh heck yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen, that's not talked about a lot, but like, good on you for just like thinking to include those characters. If you don't know me, when it comes to third-party characters, I prefer when they get a little more niche-er and more specific. I like when they go for the games that might not be the best sellers ever, but they just have such a powerful legacy and standard of quality. So like, this roster is way more appealing to me than this roster is. Just why? Like sure, heck yeah to all those Mortal Kombat characters, but like, but why? Which rat is this anyway? Is it Splinter? Rat King? Mauser? Lego Whomp Rat? There's only one correct answer to this question, and it should be painfully obvious which one it is. Elma! I was gonna yell Elma a lot louder than that, but it's like 11 p.m. and I have neighbors that may or may not be trying to get to sleep right now. Dude, this is like one of the most tasteful rosters that we're gonna see today. Like Elma, Phoenix Wright, Arl, Heavy, Chrono. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how likely I think any of those characters are. This is just like, those are some dang good video game characters from some dang good video games that you want repped in Smash. Nothing but raw, refined taste on this roster. Whoever made this one knows what is up with their video games. That's all I have to say about that, because I don't think a lot of these characters are too likely. Yeah, okay, so more love for Bandana D, but surprisingly, the only appearance of Waluigi in the entire video today. I don't know if people just don't think he's likely, or if people just don't want Waluigi like they used to back in the pre-Ultimate days. But yeah, it's kind of my comment there. I'm surprised at how little Waluigi that I've seen. Not just in this video, but just in general. I think people are kind of done with Waluigi, which is surprising. You all know by now, 2B and Rex, easy way to earn my favor. And you know, I haven't even played Hollow Knight, but for some reason, just seeing the Knight on a Smash roster, I'm like, heck yeah, I want to see the Knight in Smash. I don't know a thing about his game. That's just an appealing character design. Sure, I want to see that in Smash. I will play Hollow Knight one day. I played it for like an hour or so, and it didn't like immediately grab me, so I didn't come back to it, but I will definitely play it again at some point. I would have zero complaints if this roster turned out to be true. I don't think there was a single flaw in the construction of this roster. Okay, another example of the duality of the Smash fandom. Here you got Tracer, Waluigi, Crash, much more Western-focused Smash characters that they think are going to get into Smash, but as soon as you go to the wish list, bam! Right back over to Japan with Reen and Yuri and a Rhythm Heaven rep. Doom Guy's pretty Western, so there's that. But yeah, I'm glad to see someone throwing in Reen and Yuri. Definitely two of my favorite Fire Emblem characters as well. Glad to see people still talking about Rhythm Heaven. That's another topic that used to be a lot hotter in the Smash world. It's kind of died down a little bit. Yeah, once again, the want roster I find a lot more appealing than the prediction roster. That seems to be a trend with me in this video. That's just, when you talk about what someone wants in Smash, that's just, you get to talk about much more interesting characters. And since that's what I'm really doing in this video, I like seeing that. If you were talking about like predictions, if I was like debating someone on the predictability or how likely a character is going to be, then yeah, I love talking about Crash and Waluigi and Phoenix Wright, like all the super likely characters, but I just, for the sake of seeing some cool video game characters I don't get to talk about a lot, you guys really came through for me there. Thanks for that. Ooh, this one just looks good. You know, you see the same renders so many times when you've been in the Smash world online for 10 years like I have, or however long it's been. Like this Geno and this Shantae, those are classics, those have been around forever, but like this Chibi Robo, Tails, Crash, like I've seen those before, but like it's just refreshing when someone can pull out a good looking, I assume fan-made render that I don't see 3 times a day, and it just makes the roster look way more aesthetically pleasing as a result. Only appearance of Chibi Robo today. You know, there are a lot of GameCube era Nintendo icons that some people think were not fairly represented in Smash. You could go to like Golden Sun, Custom Robo, Chibi Robo, Advanced Wars, and you could definitely make a solid argument for Chibi Robo being one of the only ones from that category that Nintendo doesn't seem to blatantly ignore. He at least got that 3DS game and that Fire PNG, I guess that counts as Chibi Robo content. I can't call a single one of these GameCube era characters likely, but I'm glad they're not dead. I'm glad we still have people talking about them. Ooh, okay, another really good looking one, to be honest. This Geno render, talking about seeing the same renders over and over again. I don't know where this Geno render came from, but I see it all over the place these days. Pretty good looking Rayman too. At this point, like I've talked about these characters so often that I'm just resorting to talking about the renders of the characters. Generally speaking, I know I haven't really dived into how likely I think a lot of these rosters are, because not only do I think that's a very difficult topic to talk about these days, but also it's such a nitty-gritty topic that it would drag the video a long time. Generally speaking, when like Crash, Geno, Rayman, like 3 just giant, hugely fan-requested characters and mostly Western-requested fan characters, like, when you put a lot of these giant juggernaut characters on a single roster, I tend to think like, oh, that's too heavily weighted towards the huge, just giant fan-requested characters. So stuff like that, just to talk a little bit about predictability, makes me doubt this a little bit. But every individual character, save for maybe Rayman, I do think has a solid chance of being in Smash. Except, maybe Travis Touchdown isn't, as likely as he used to be. It's gonna get a big no comment from me. In fact, once again, while editing, the creator of this roster has reached out to me and asked if I would replace Travis on their roster with Dante, so happy to oblige there. But I was actually talking to them a few days ago, and they jokingly told me that I should actually go ahead and add Dingodile to their roster, so whether or not they actually meant it, I am officially replacing Crash on this roster with Dingodile. That instantly converts this roster from a perfectly pedestrian lineup to the best Fighters Pass 2 I'm talking about all day long. And would you look at that? That's the final roster of the evening, folks. All in all, my big takeaway from this is not necessarily the prediction ability of you people, because I didn't see one roster here that I looked at and was just like, yes, that looks like a Fighters Pass 2 that Nintendo would release and make. Because honestly, it's really hard to be able to objectively judge that at this point. I might make a video about that, actually, how hard it's getting to predict Smash these days. But just seeing the diversity of characters you guys bring up, I'm glad that not every roster I got was Crash, Rex, Geno, Dante, a lot, like, almost every roster had at least one character where I was like, oh yeah, interesting pick, good pick, cool pick, underappreciated pick. And I love that I have that in my viewership. I have independent thinkers with unique ideas in my viewership. It certainly gave me a lot to talk about in this video. So once again, I really appreciate all of you that put these together for me. I'm sorry this wasn't the huge production it used to be, but I can't bring myself to remake that video again. I did put a lot of work into that video. It was taken right at the last second. But I have all these rosters. I'm gonna keep my eye on them, and if any of these actually do end up being pretty dang close to what actually happens in Fighters Pass 2, I will remember that, and I will call that out if I can, because that's something I wanted to do here, is like hold on to these, and if any of you actually get really close to the right answer, I want to call that out and sort of celebrate that. But that is it for this video. Thank you all who stayed till the end. This was a long one, as I feared it would be. I will see you in the next one. For the love of God, back up all of your files on your computer to some external hard drive. Just save your data, people. It saves you so much headache. Okay, goodbye.